start. Oh, very good. That's fine. Okay, so we just start. Okay, and last week we talked about at the corporate level strategy, and then yeah, in order to formulate the strategy, we need to define the level of the strategy, and we talk about it the global level strategy, or the national level strategy, or the corporate industrial level strategy, and the individual corporate level strategy, team level strategy, and the individual level strategy. In order to make effectiveness or the efficiency, you need to define the level of the strategy first. Okay, good. And however, mainly because we are business problem solvers, not the policymakers, okay, or the industrial leaders. So then, yeah, I just want to propose that the corporate level strategy, And however, we mainly talk about it though, what is the purpose of the corporate level strategy? What is the main purpose of the corporate level strategy? We simply, okay, there are tons of thousand words. Okay, so corporate strategy aiming to the win without fighting. Bullshit. No. The main goal or the main purpose of exercising the corporate level strategy is we want to achieve the sustainable growth for the corporation or for the organization. So if we have to make a choice between the maximizing the profit or the sustainable growth, yeah, in the corporate level strategy, okay, we choose sustainable growth. We choose the sustainable growth, okay, no matter what. This is my understanding from the real business field. Because growth is much more important than the short-term profit. That is our understanding. So the main purpose of the corporate strategy is we want to achieve the sustainable growth in a market. Absolutely. And then, yeah, we mainly talk about it, how we can grow. And there is an internal growth, and then everybody knows this. Make a continual innovation, and operational excellency or capacity. Okay, that's a good. That's a basic. That's a basic, or that's a fundamental. However, practically speaking, a certain corporation, a certain business, a certain organization grow. The corporate grow throughout the external growth, especially M&A. You need to buy, you need to merge, and you need to acquire, or you need to buy another business. Okay, absolutely. So that is the best way to grow, to make your your business grow. Absolutely. Good. And then there is a diversification in order to reduce the cost, in order to reduce the risk. Bullshit. Okay. And then the merging and acquisition is the best practice to make a sustainable growth. However, that's risky. M&A is risky, and the success rate of the M&A is less than 20%. It's risky, but we never stop. That's okay. Okay, and there is a winner's curse and the synergy. Why M&A fail? Because we are stupid, but Harvard, we never stop. And what is the purpose of the M&A something? Absolutely, we want to grow sustainably throughout increasing revenue and reducing the cost. That's the main purpose of the business. Absolutely. Okay. And then that's what we have learned the last 2 weeks. And there is a strategy alliance, but however, I think the strategy alliance strategy will not be popular in China after coronavirus. Many things will be happening, but many things will be changing. And then, okay, probably China need to focus on taking over the businesses throughout the buying. We need more M&A expert. Absolutely. So strategy alliance, probably not a good option. Not a good option for China for a while. Okay, that's what we have learned. Okay, corporate level strategy is to achieve the sustainable growth. In order to grow sustainably, we, the corporate levels, okay, corporations or the businesses, organizations, want to buy another business. That's the best practical way to make a continual growth. Okay, good. And then this week we will talk about a global strategy. Global strategy, because that the global is essential nowadays. Global strategy. Global strategy. Global strategy. Okay, good. And then let's think about it. Global strategy. Yeah, this is the question from the Thomas Friedman a few years ago. Thomas Friedman asked, okay, so are we living in the flat world or the global world? Again, whatever. Okay, so simply, the world is flat. Do you think that the world is flat? Okay, I do not ask. Thomas Friedman do not ask about the physical shape of the physical shape of the Earth. But however, he is asking about it. Okay, so yeah, the world is getting more smaller, and the world is getting more connected, and the world is getting become one, and the world is getting more networked, and the world is getting more democratizing, and the world is the inequality of the between the different nations is getting more smaller, and the gap is smaller. What do you think? Do you think that we are living in a global world? For example, if something is happening in the U.S., can you know that information or the news almost immediately? Yes or no? We are living in the global world. We are living in a global world, and then comparing with that 30 years ago, or 30 years ago, or 40 years ago, and then our information is more flourishing, and if something is happening in outside of the somewhere, and we can get to know almost immediately, and that gives us a more democratizing on in equal communication, equal information accessibility. And however, if something is happening, if a product is produced in a certain area, and can we get it? Yeah, absolutely. Almost everywhere we can get our supply chains. We call that is a globalization. And then the Thomas Friedman briefly summarize that kinds of things, globalization, as the world is flat. World is flat. Okay? And then the Thomas Friedman proposed to summarize that we are now experiencing then the first, second, and third wave of the globalization. First globalization was done by the imperialism, and that is led by the nations like UK, Dutch, or the France, and some those kind of nations conquered and colonized that another territory, like UK colonized the US, and France colonized many of the African nations, and many other European countries. They colonized many other countries. That's the first wave of the globalization. Oh yeah, that's okay. And the second globalization was led by the Industrial Revolution. Multinational companies at the time, and around 200 years ago, when we had the Industrial Revolution, and many of the multinational companies, they produce something and they sell it outside of the world. Okay, absolutely. That was led by the corporations or the businesses. Okay, got it. And then Thomas Friedman proposed that the third wave of the globalization in recent years, that is driven by technology. And since the 1980s, and we got ICT in this ICT technology, information communication technology, and all level and area was driven by the information and technology, simply internet. Thanks to the internet, okay? So we can make all the networks throughout all the globe. Thomas Friedman summarized this first, second, and third, globalization. However, I disagree with this because, in Asia, okay, we may have a different history of the globalization in Asia. Okay? In Asia, what is the first globalization for us in your history, in Asian history? What is the first globalization? That was happened in before Christ, BC, 300 years ago. Can you guess? What is the first globalization in Asia? That was around BC 300 years. Han Dynasty. Hint, Silk Road. And who made the first globalization? I'm asking. Do you think that the Silk Road is the first globalization? I think so. And who made that? Who made the first Silk Road? Exactly. 장건. Yeah, 장첸. Okay. 장건. Yeah, 장건. Yeah, he made the first road. He made the first road between the east and west. And after that, and that was occurred in the BC 300 years ago, Han Dynasty. And that was our human history first globalization. Absolutely. Okay, and there was a start of the trade between the Asia and the Western society. First globalization made the first Silk Road. And since then, okay, so we made a lot of trade. We made a lot of business between the West and the East. Okay, and what is the second globalization in Asia? What should be the second globalization in Asia? Any idea? That was occurred in the maybe 14th and the 15th century. Okay, and the One Dynasty. Can you guess? Yeah, in the no, One Dynasty, Song and One, whatever. Okay, and that's the Mongolian route. Yeah, Mongolians and the One Dynasty conquered a lot of the Western countries, and they built up a lot of road in the middle of nowhere, in Siberia, in desert area, and throughout those kind of the northern part of the Asia, and then we made a road and we built the road, and at the time there are a lot of trade between the East and West. Okay, and since then, okay, so Asia was Asia made a lot of the global, Asia led the global trade and the globalization. But something was happened in the 18th century, and the Western society, Europeans conquered many things, and then they started to making the imperialism and the colonialism, and I think that's the third wave of the globalization in our human history. Yeah, the Thomas Friedman, he's American business guy, and he just to summarize that globalization 1, 2, 3. Because he is Western people, he has that kind of history. But however, in our history, in Asian history, we built our first globalization throughout the making the Silk Road, and the second globalization. And however, there are a lot of the different histories, waves of the expansions and the shrink of the globalization. We experienced that, and we have the history for more than 2,000 years, almost 3,000 years. So simply, I just want to say, okay, globalization is not new for us. Globalization, we led that. We led that globalization for many years ago. Okay? I think so. Yeah, because I'm Asian. I'm Asian, and then Asians led those kind of the waves of the globalization expansions. Then we may have a better DNA in making a global strategy. I think so. Personally, I think so. Anyway, okay, good. And then, okay, so return back to the Thomas Friedman. Return back to the Thomas Friedman. And however, who found Africa? Africa. Okay, Chonghua in Ming Dynasty. Ming Dynasty, Chonghua. Okay, Chonghua. Okay, he went to the Africa. Yeah, whatever. Okay, whatever. Okay. So return back to the Thomas Friedman. Okay, Thomas Friedman explained why we have the globalization 3.0. Why we have the third wave of the globalization, and he proposed that the 10 flatters make the world flat. Make the world flat. Okay, 10 flatteners of the globalization. Okay, and first, collapse of the Berlin Wall. Before the Berlin Wall, okay, before the Berlin Wall, and there was a competition between the capitalistic country and the socialistic country, communistic country, and the capitalistic country. And I was born and I was raised in the capitalistic country. Okay, and I had no chance to come to China. I had no chance to come to the Russia. I had no chance to come to the Eastern Europe because we fought before 1989. Okay, before 1989, there was no travel between these two ideology divisions. U.S., Soviet, U.S., China, no. Japan and North Korea, no. Absolutely no. However, suddenly in 1989, Berlin Wall, in Germany, everything was collapsed. No border lines. No border lines. No border lines. There was a big shock. There was a big shock. And maybe you cannot remember. You were not born. Okay, you were not born in 1989. So you had no idea before. Okay, but however, fortunately, I was. Yeah, I clearly remember what was happened. What was happened in 1989 because I was 20 years old. So absolutely. So I clearly remember. And after the collapsing the Berlin Wall, we didn't have any border lines, and we can travel almost everywhere in the world. That's the start of the third wave of the globalization. And the second one is a Netscape. And then, do you know the Netscape? And then maybe, are you using the Chrome or the Explorer? And probably a few number of guys love to use the Firefox. And what is this? We call that is a web browser. A browser. And how about if you want to use the internet, and we are using the web browser, right? However, we didn't have the web browser before 1995. And the first web browser was a Netscape. And since we had the first web browser, we started to use the internet freely. And before, If we did, yeah, when we didn't have the web browser, and if we want to connect with the internet, you must use this kind of things, so SMTP, HTML, and a lot of different code. And personally, I use that. I use that. And if you want to send an email, okay, so yeah, maybe you just open the web browser and you just send a few number of stuff. Work, but however, when you don't have any web browsers, and you must type in everything. Okay, so Netscape and this kind of the communication tools help us to make connections between the outside of world. Absolutely. And then sooner or later, and then when the network is connected and the uploading and the open source Wikipedia, and then my first experience of the internet was I wanted to hack the CIA website. That was my first trial. Yeah, I know, I'm a bad guy. I'm a bad engineer. But how are you scaling? Oh, I want to hack the CIA. Oh, what are they talking? I did. I was a stupid engineer. Yeah, I know. Oh, that was quite interesting. Anyway, so I learned a lot. I could access almost all necessary information. Oh, there was a new word. And I could find out a lot of very advanced technologies, a lot of the advanced designs, and I could design a few number of the weapons by myself. I did. Whatever. Okay. And however, gradually, when the internet is going more flourishing, and then we can expand our outsourcing. We can expand our value chains outside of our country. Okay, if I need something, okay, I want to reduce the cost, and then I want to get a more cheaper and a more better quality of something outside of my country. It's possible. It's possible. We call that is outsourcing and offshoring. And many nations and many countries, they support this kind of idea, integrated global supply chain management. And throughout the no tariff and World Trade Organization, or the NAFTA, or the free trade agreement. And then, okay, so we get rid of the barrier. For the global business, global trade, and the global communication. Because that makes us more rich. We can make more money. Okay, and then absolutely the logistics is getting more important, and then the domestic or the global logistics is getting more flourishing. Absolutely, and there is information democratization, and I get to know more about it. There's something new, almost no time difference. And when the patent is registered in the US, and I almost immediately get to know what is registered. Okay, and absolutely there is a steroid, what accelerators and personal data devices like a mobile phone. Okay, so because I have a mobile phone, I can communicate with my friend all around the world. Do you? Yes, you're born after that. And when you were born, okay, 1995, huh? When you were born, which year? 1998, 1999. Hmm? Which year did you born? Oh, 1998. Yeah. When I graduated graduate school, yeah. Okay, so when you were born, we already have a lot of these kind of things. We already have this kind of internet, website, and web browser, and the free trade agreement, and many of the WTO, and the FTA, and the inbound logistics, the global something. However, okay, a long story short, okay, what is the most critical thing that make our world is more flat, simple. Can you see the map of this? What do you guess? What is this line? What is this the red line? What is this? Yeah, if you want to send an email from China to US, okay? And how you can send it? How you can transfer your email to your email from China to US? How the internet is connected? Do you know? Is air something? No. Cable. Fiber optic cable. We call that is a fiber optic cable. Fiber optic cable under the sea, mainly under the sea. So when you send an email, okay, from here, and then that will be transferred to the Korea or Japan, and that will be transferred to the west coast of the U.S. and that is traveling in the U.S. and that will be going to the New Jersey. That is a main line of the internet. Oh yeah, absolutely. How? Because we have tons of thousand cables under the sea. What kinds of cable? Yeah, data transferring fiber optics cable. So Thomas Friedman proposed this kind of the 10 letters, and how he summarized that. Okay, so the third wave of the globalization is induced by fiber optic cable under the sea. It is clear. ICT industry? No, that's a network. Global network. Technology. ICT technology. And then that is totally symbolized as cable. Cable under the sea. Fiber optics cable. That changed our world. Do you agree? Do you think so? Do you agree with me? Do you agree or not? Cable gave us the third wave of the globalization. Do you think so or no? I think so. I agree with Thomas Friedman. Okay, so then here I have a question. What is the next driver of the globalization 4.0? Any idea? What will be the next key driver of the globalization 4.0? Lucy, any idea? Vanessa, any idea? What will be the next thing? And I don't know. How about the last guess? Eric, Peanut, Tracy. Yeah. What will be the next key driver of the globalization 4.0? Just guess. Virgo. Doris, Jenny, Nancy, Crystal. What will be the next one? The third wave comes from the cable. And what will be the first one? What will be the key factor that will drive us to have a more globalization? Yes. We are going to that direction. Yeah, we already have the internet. Thanks to the cable. Is there anybody who come from the Shandong? Shandong. Yeah, raise your hand. Yeah, Shandong. Please say yes. Shandong. Come from the Shandong. Vanessa, no. Shandong. Sharon? No, no, I'm sorry. Ostrich. My ostrich. Weber? Did you come? Weber, you come from the Shandong. Okay, okay, okay. So, do you know the Jinan? 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 Jinan, yeah. Jinan. Jinan area in Shandong. Exactly. Ooh. Do you know the Jinan project? Yeah, maybe you know that Jinan project. I introduced it several times. Jinan project. Do you know the Jinan project? What is that? What is that project? Jinan project. Eh? Eh? Do you don't know the Jinan project? No? Oh, anybody know that the Jinan project? Anybody know the Jinan project? That is now occurring in the Weber's hometown. You don't know? Oh, well, what do you know? Anyway, something is now happening. That is a Jinan project, okay? Jinan project, and then that will be changing our world. That is a project of the quantum computing. Quantum computing and the quantum networking. Weber, the Jinan's geographical location is almost the middle of the Beijing and the Shanghai. Is it true? Jinan is almost the center of the Beijing and the Shanghai? Yes. And then the Beijing, in the Beijing there is a strip there. In the Beijing there is something. And then in the Beijing, somebody will shoot the signal. And then the Shanghai will take a receiver. There is a shooter and the receiver. And something is sending, transmitting, and then in the Shanghai, and they are receiving. That's a communication network. And however, somebody must monitor this kind of the communication. And then that's the reason why the Jinan has the monitor system, monitoring site to observe and to monitor what's going on this communication. And that's a Jinan project. And then in Beijing, somebody will shoot the quantum network, quantum networking signal. Okay, to Shanghai, and the Shanghai will lead. Okay, and Jinan monitor. And a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, Jinan project make a big success. So technically speaking, quantum networking and the quantum computing is coming. If we have the quantum networking and the quantum computing, technically speaking, we don't need a cable. And we are enjoying the tens of thousands faster networking and the tons of thousands the safe networking and the more advanced the speed of the processor. That's now happening in China. We call that as a China project. Weber, your hometown is now taking a very important role that will change the world, and that will fundamentally change the globalization level. Really, that's my thinking. I think so. I believe that. I'm confident of it. And then the US is now competing, and Canada is competing, Australia is competing, and Japan and Korea. We are now competing each other to lead that. However, when we make the success, okay, we will have a totally different level of the globalization. Really, I am expecting that. Something is happening. Something is happening. I don't know, but no, that's my guess. I believe so. And then we will see. We will see. And personally, I didn't expect that the coronavirus. Okay, I didn't expect that the coronavirus. And however, yeah, I don't know. And however, I guess that we can overcome this coronavirus soon, and then everything will get normal. Everything will get normal. And then yeah, from next week, from next year, maybe we'd better we need more the advanced technology, and we need more global corporations and global collaborations. I think in order to fix this kind of the infectious disease all around the world. But however, yeah, now the many countries have made very stupid choices. I don't know. That's their choice. Anyway, so something is happening. Something is happening. Whatever. Okay. In the third wave of the globalization. In the third wave of the globalization, and however, who got the best benefit? Probably this. China is the winner of the third wave of the globalization. Because China has become the world best factory manufacturers. Because thanks to the global supply chain management and global outsourcing and offshoring. Thanks. However, now that will be changing, and the Americans unhappy. They are unhappy to see this. Then they are now arguing, and many Americans lost their job because of their incompetent industry came to China, came to India, came to the Bangladesh, came to the Vietnam. However, that's their choice. The world is getting flattening. Yes, that's getting more flattening. And however, somebody are unhappy. So we guess that something will be happening. So we need some changes. Whatever. Okay, and then right now, we'd better to define, we'd better to have a clear understanding. So what is the globalization? In the perspective of the world economy and in the perspective of the firm level, okay, globally, world economy perspective, globalization is the process of the world economy become more integrated and more interdependent. We are becoming one. We are becoming one world in the perspective of the world economy. However, in the perspective of the firm level, individual, corporation, or the organization level, globalization is the process of the firms or the companies expanding beyond their domestic boundaries and competing worldwide regardless of the national boundaries. So, in the perspective of the firm level, business world, organization level, we are competing with global, the world best competitors. We are not competing with the domestic players anymore. We are competing world best or the global competitors. Really. And however, anybody just to focus on the domestic something, but however, no, not anymore. In the global economy, individual or the individual business entity like corporations or the businesses, they need to compete with world best players. That will be very challenging. Absolutely, that's really challenging. Okay, good. That's the recent according to different level of the business level, and then we may have a different understandings of the globalization. Good. And yeah, the Michael Porter proposed that the competitive advantage of the national level of something, and why some nations get benefit from the globalization, like China, for many years, for around 20 years, say after the a wave of the third wave of the globalization, and why China invests a lot of money in making the manufacturing in 2025 and to protect their supply something. Okay, why? Because the nations want to make their individual businesses more stronger in the global economy. If they cannot win, if they lose, they will be dying. And if the businesses die, their national economy will collapse. Absolutely. And then Michael Porter proposed that the four domains and the four components of the diamond of the national advantage of the globalization. And firms that succeeded in the global market had first succeeded in intensely the competitive home market. That's his idea. And in order to go into the global, in order to win over the global players, and one company must compete within the domestic market, and within the domestic market, a player must train itself, and that company must be the domestic number one company, and then they can go outside to the global market. It's traditional. It's traditional understanding. If you want to go to global, okay, you must fight and you must compete within the Chinese domestic market. And then if you win over the domestic market, maybe you can go to the larger somewhere. Okay, that's the traditional understanding about the global strategy. Win in a small market, win in a relatively larger market, win in your domestic market, and win over the global market. That's a traditional understanding that was proposed by the Michael Porter. And then he proposed that there is a firm strategy, corporate strategy, structure, and the lively intensity of the competing. You must win within your domestic market, and there must be the domestic market demand conditions and the related and the supporting industry from the government, and there is a few number of the factor conditions, economic condition, external analysis. Whatever, Porter's idea is clear. If you want to go to global, you must be a winner of the domestic market. Do you agree with this? Do you think so? If you want to go to global, you must be a winner of the domestic market. Do you think so? Do you agree? Porter. Doris, do you agree with that? Okay. But however, this is a conventional understanding. Conventional. Okay, because that in order to go to the global, and I must I must be a winner of the domestic market. Oh yeah, absolutely. That is totally applicable for the Japanese automakers, like a Toyota. Toyota becomes the domestic winner in Japanese market, and they are going to the global, and they are dominating the car market, whatever. And the Benz, BMW, and they are the winners of the domestic market, and they go into the global, and they make success. But however, that is popular in the 20th century. But however, we are living in the 21st century. That is totally integrated. Okay. Let's think about a very interesting case, DJI. Do you think that the DJI, the Dazhong, do you know the DJI, the drone company in Shenzhen? Do you know the drone company? And DJI is the winner of the Chinese domestic market? And then they go into the global? No, that's inverse. That's reverse. DJI made a success outside of China, outside of the domestic market. And they come to Chinese market. How we can explain that by using the porous, that diamond model? We can't. However, yeah, that kinds of things is happening a lot recently because we are totally living in the networked company, networked in the totally globalized world. So we have another understanding like this. What if there is no domestic market? What if there is no domestic demand? Can we, yeah, we cannot make any business? No, no, no. We can win over the global market first. And then we can utilize that the global market in a more creative way, like this, integrating the international demand, okay, throughout the integrating the value chains in a more global way. For example, do you think that in India, okay, and they have in India, the nation, India has in India, India has a large software market, software industry. India has a large software industry. Do you know? Probably no. There is no software industry in China, in India. Maybe no. There is no. There is no big company like a Microsoft, Google, or the Facebook. No. Absolutely, India has no such kind of the industry. However, fortunately or unfortunately, India has tons of thousands of software engineers. How they address this kind of the demand and the supply, they separate their market from the workforce, and they integrate it with the global demand. And there is a US demand, and the software engineers, and they outsourced the engineering work to India. And technically, so we have an internet, we have a global network, and then technically speaking, U.S. customers demand something and then make a design something, and then yeah, after 1 or 2 days, and the Indian engineers work together, and they can deliver their software without any borderlines. We can integrate the global supply chains throughout internet. Absolutely, that's possible. Okay. What is a good example of the TSMC? Do you know the TSMC? We call that is a foundry industry. And the TSMC is the world's largest foundry manufacturer. And however, that is supplied to the Huawei. So if there is no TSMC and the Huawei cannot build the mobile phone, and however, TSMC manufacturing is in China? No. Any problem? No problem. Because yeah, we don't need to win. We don't need to win within the small domestic market, and we just to go out anywhere. We just to go out anywhere, and we don't need to stick to the domestic market. Maybe we can make a success in the outside of the domestic market first, and then we can get it like a DJI. Or if there is no domestic market, that's fine, and we can integrate our business with the global demand. We can be more creative thanks to globalization. Absolutely. And who can do this kind of global business? Who can do this? Who can solve this kind of very complex global business? At least, who can speak English? Do you think that we can speak in Chinese to make a global business? Probably no. Speak English and then who know the problem, business problem solving. Like WKU CBPM students, I think so. Yeah. I think so. I think so. Don't you think? Who can make a global business? At least somebody must be able to speak English, and then who can solve the business problems? Yeah, why not? I am confident, my students, my WKU students. You are well trained. Whatever. Okay, good. Whatever. Yes or no? Can you help us to make a more better global business? Who can solve our problem with a better English communication? Please say yes or no. Tracy. There you go. Global management. Yes or no? Yeah, I told you. Yes or no? Vanessa, yes or no? Agnes, Angela, Nancy, Crystal, yes or no? Are you there? Can you hear me? Weber, oh, thank you. Yeah, please. Yeah. Okay. Good. And there is a size matter, and the size of the globalized area, okay, and the 2,000 years, and the global business is only 21%. However, we are expecting the global business takes more than 80% of the business. And 2027, we predicted that. And however, now this is almost 60%. 2019 or the 2020, and we achieved at the 60% of the globally networked and the global businesses. But however, we are now experiencing the coronavirus, and many scholars expect that is going down. But personally, no, I don't think so. That's getting up. That will be going up. That will be going up. And I know that anybody is concerning about it. The U.S. will be reshoring, and the U.S. will be nationalizing, and many of the countries will kill the global economy, something. But personally, I don't think so, because we are totally embedded. We must go to the right direction. There is no choice. There is no other choice. We must be becoming a more integrated and more independent society. And the qualities matter, not the direction. The direction is clear. We are becoming one. Direction is clear, and the speed is different. But however, I believe we do better to bring a better idea how we can make the better world as we get becoming one, as our world is getting more flat. Okay, not fighting each other, but how we can win without fighting, and how we can come along together in a more global society. That's our direction. And however, there are a few number of the rejections, objections, or some. No, don't do that. That's totally stupid. We cannot go back. We should make a progress, not regressive. No, don't do that. We must make a progress. The direction is clear. Don't try to get back. That will make a big trouble. Anyway, so that's their choice, and the US or the England or, okay, whatever, Brexit. I don't know why they make those kind of the stupid choices, but however, yeah, they are going back. Okay, that's fine, and we must make a progress. Anyway, so in our history, in our Asian history, okay, so we led globalization. So yeah, why not? Why not the first? Why not the next one? Okay, good. And that is all. And we will talk about it, globalization, the imperatives, and something more. Okay, good. Good. The key strategy issues and something. Good. And so far, any question about the globalization? I wish I have more time. I wish I have more physical something, and this will be very interesting nowadays. Any question? And so far, so good. Then can I see? Can I see you on Thursday? The last class, the last live session. Yeah, that would be the last one. Okay, good. Then I will see you on Thursday. And please double check your score. And if there is any mistake, please let me know. And then on this Thursday I will finalize. I will finalize the scoring, and then I will let you have the almost the tentative final score. Okay, and the next week, yeah, you can focus on your graduation. Okay, good. Thank you, and I will see you. Okay, bye bye. 白熊胡子西蒙熊Adam bye, Weber bye, Angela bye, Vanessa bye, Tracy bye. Ja, Fulda, absolut, ja, Fulda bye. Nancy bye. Lucy. Okay.